Hello, I am Rhonda Rogers, the president and founder of Rhonda's Promise. Rhonda's Promise is a nonprofit for women and girls located here in South Palm Beach County. I focus on South Palm Beach County because I was born and raised in the all-American city of Delray Beach.
Diversified Game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you heard it right. We are talking nonprofit. We are talking change all the way from the set. Mrs. Rogers is going to give us the game on not just what she's done, but what she's doing. I hope to get this out before her event, and I hope you see it before her event. I believe it's December 14th.
Yes,
She's
sir.
going to give, yes. And I thank Kitty London for doing such an interview so I can go check and know some things about what you're doing currently. We love Kitty. And so, Ms. Rhonda, welcome to Diversified Game. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yes, yes. I love Kitty too. I was one of her first interviews when she was still doing People of Power from her home. And now look at her, our big girl.
Yeah, I heard she was on the plane with Oprah today. I might not, I might be
See?
spreading rumors, but we're gonna speak that.
But we
'Cause they
speaking
don't-
that because Kitty speaks that. And so she will endorse that.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we want to talk about, and I do my best not to have to do the same old interview, because her interview, you guys, we could link that in the description. It gave a lot of game, but even from the name on how you got this, you're known to always keep your promises. So I'm sending everybody to you and saying you can solve their problems, and if you promise them, hey, they got something. But can you talk about starting a nonprofit and how we can help you as a community with the funding? Let's start there. What can we do as a community? So often people like you are giving, giving, giving. What can the community do for you? I'm gonna start a little different today.
Well, I love that. I love that. Always donations. With nonprofit, this is not a moneymaker. This is where you pour back into the community. This is where you have your passion. If you're not doing this because you love it and you have a passion for it, you're in the wrong business. So first of all, today is Giving Tuesday. So I was so delighted that you were able to get me on today because I have a big Giving Tuesday campaign out there right now, asking folks to donate to the girls chat. Just $25 will go directly to gift cards for each one of the girls that come to the conference, just as an incentive and just to get them started on their Christmas holiday. Also, I need volunteers. I'm the only person doing this full time. I have 6 amazing board members, plus myself, 7 ladies doing this work. So if you're interested in being a mentor or just being a support, I could definitely use volunteers and partners. Thirdly, I need partners. We can't do this work by ourselves. I would love collaboration and partnerships. We can do better. We can do more and bigger things as a unit than individuals. So those are mainly the 3 things I need: funding, volunteers, and partners.
Doing this type of work, was there something in your childhood or adulthood that said there's such a need to this work to be done in the way that I want to do it? If so, what was that?
Really the impact of other women from a little child. My grandmother, I was raised by my grandparents. They got me in a lot of programs. They started me young with mentoring programs such as the BX and the debutantes of Francis J. Bright. And just being around these other women leaders, they inspired me to go off to college and to give back. And as soon as I got back, I returned from Tuskegee University. I started immediately volunteering myself with Francis J. Bright, and then moving on up to my sorority and 100 Black women. And so really having those mentors early, and my grandparents instilling in me the need to volunteer and get involved in the community. They both were very involved in the community, and they coached softball and baseball and helped with the Delray Rocks back in the day. So just watching them move and navigate, I knew I wanted to do the same. And I poured that same thing into my sons because I was a single mom raising my 2 boys, and I leaned on mentorship such as the MOTs and the Men of Tomorrow in West Palm to help me guide and direct my young men to the great men I think they are today. So I think just being involved at a young age really helps me carry this torch.
Talk about though, you talk about the debutantes. My mother always told me, because she was one of those who loved that type of stuff, but she said Jack and Jill and all that, that's not for you, and you got to get out of California and either you go to the Midwest, where I went to school, or you go to HBCU. But she's like, you're a little different. What did getting involved early, and then what did that HBCU experience, which is such a unique experience? It's after you find out, wow, I went to something special. Talk about how those shifted your life and what that did for you to help inspire others if they should follow.
Well, HBU experience is nothing like anything else. If you know anything about going to a historical Black university, especially one like Tuskegee University, and I was still in awe coming from Florida, coming from Delray Beach. And at the time, I went to a predominantly white high school. And that's hard to believe for some people because there was a different Atlantic high school than what it is now. So the Atlantic high school that I graduated from in 88 was predominantly white. And so leaving there, I went to a completely all Black experience. And so I just was in awe. I just could not believe there was so much intelligence, so much history, so much group. And I have some dear friends to this day that I met in 88 when I stepped on the campus of Tuskegee University. And it just builds character. Builds character. You all look the same. You're all striving for the same mission, and people are lifting you up. And that's what I loved about it is the camaraderie and just being around my fellow Black men and women who are all inspiring to be the next great thing happening.
And being a debutante, because people sometimes people try to do stuff they can't afford. So when they try to do like cotillion and everything, they're like, do you have 20 extra $1,000 and more? And it's not for everyone, but there's people who do have that and they can't even get in for various reasons. Maybe you know, they might be like me, rough around the edges. I don't know what that is. But how did that, steer your life? And is that something that you still say, oh, that benefited me?
Oh, that most definitely benefit. And being here from Delray Beach, ours was not that expensive. But in the time and the age, you still had to be able to afford the gowns. You still had to be able to afford the trips. You still had to be able to afford different things. So, like I said, I was fortunate to be raised by my grandparents who had the means for me to be involved in all of these different groups. Because as you mentioned, there is a financial part of it, but there's also a gain part of it, the sisterhood, the mentorship from the ladies. We also got a chance to put on our talent. I think that was the very first time I got to show some talent, and they asked each one of us to put on a talent show. We put on a talent show, but we had to show our individual talents and come up with what that would be, what you want to showcase to the community. So I definitely find value in it. We learn about etiquette. I still think that today the girls don't get enough of that. That is why I do that as part of Rhonda's Promise. I do a tea party and I bring in an etiquette instructor to just talk to the girls about the different utensils and greeting and speaking. Nowadays, our girls have been so much in the computer, especially those who were around the COVID time, and they really don't know how to shake hands and give eye contact and things like that. And those are the things that we learn in debutante, the curtsy, various things like that, how to speak loud, how to speak confidence. So I definitely see value in it, and it shaped my life. And I continue to do some of the things that I learned through Francis J. Wright Debutante, even in my nonprofit today.
So here's the warning for everybody. All things said by me do not reflect Miss Rhonda. But when you talk about the curtsy and just being, polite and how to eat, the things that we see on TV, I can't watch a Tyler Perry show because I didn't know certain things even existed and how they were done. Now, somebody would say, why do the women have to curtsy and the men aren't? Can you talk those old school values? Is there any pushback that you get inside the community? Because I want somebody besides me and maybe my cavemen that get it sometimes. I want someone else to get that smoke that's on the other side, talking about why those things still matter and how they can help somebody in their life.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At cprfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Callan Cash Coleman, we help our clients not only succeed but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at cprfirm.com.
Just want to know, those old school values, because if
Yes.
this was taught in school, they might have the boys doing the curtsy, and and roles are just switching.
Well, I don't
But
want them to have the boys doing the curtsy, but I can tell you the boys are doing the bowing. And if you look at the new age debutante programs I've been seeing out of Atlanta and other big cities, they're doing a whole dance routine. And these young men are putting it down and they're learning their different steps and they don't seem to be shame about it at all. They're bringing in the modern. They still do the curtsy and they still do the waltz, but they put a nice new hip feel to it where the young men are very confident in doing their bowing. And then I have to say, I have to shout out these men groups out here who are really bringing these young men up, like Connect to Greatness. Andre Thaddeus is one of my dear friends, and I love what him and his wife Cassandra are doing with the young men here. And like I said, back in my son's day, they had the Men of Tomorrow, and we also have the Kappa League who are doing great things with their young men, and they're taking them out to lunch with the ladies and teaching them how to go on dates and things like that. So I have nothing but love for my fellow brothers out here who are trying to do the same that I am doing with the girls.
I, I love it. How do you see the change? Because again, right is wrong and wrong is right. And I just was told about something I never knew existed, 304 TikTok, and how married women are going to this section of TikTok that I still haven't been to. But I'm like, where are we going? Are we just have people been raptured up? Am I hearing the tribulation? Like, can you talk about the your youth and the changes and the progress they're getting versus those who are, kind of going with this whatever happens, happens, and you can be whoever you want to be and do it how you want to do it?
Well, from my
Are you
perspective, I think you need to have some goals. And I didn't even know about the section you're talking about on TikTok. I still think you have to have goals and values. I'm still very much old school. And I just think that women should be women and men should be men and we should work together. Doesn't mean the women have to follow. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is women are too much leaders as well. And I like to see that trajectory. I like to see us continue to do that and not go to what I could see like the dark side. I think that we need to still bring in those traditional values. Our kids need it. And I think that's what the problem is. We don't see so much of that traditional values, and we're having more and more gun violence and everybody picking up a gun to solve their problem instead of doing it through conversation, doing it through communication and talking out their problems. They're going to violence. And so for me, those traditional things is really what still needs to be in place. And I think that's where our new generation is at loss because we don't have those values anymore. And we do have those things, like you said, TikTok and Instagram and all these other things that are persuading our youth, and that we need to get them back to home values and really learning from their home, not learning from these platforms.
I don't know if you have any stats or percentages, but for someone like you, and even just now, if people are involved in programs like this, because it takes truly a village, the old saying says, but if you're in this type of program, which I was part of, Boys and Girls Club and different
Right.
things. I've been part of the 100 Black Men
Right.
as a adult. People who are in these programs are more likely to go to college, are more likely to get a trade and a skill that I've seen just in my personal life. Have you seen that as well? If you're more likely involved in something like this, you're more likely to succeed and not
That's
be
right.
broke.
Because you have accountability partners, and that's what I like about what I do is once you're in our network, we stay on you. We ask about your grades, we ask how you're doing. There's someone there encouraging you. You know, you can't have an option of failing because you have Miss Rhonda and you have her team behind you. And so yes, I don't know the percentages, but I agree with you that that being involved in these mentorship programs, having a mentor, having an accountability partner does make a difference. And a lot of kids don't even see the value. I had the pleasure of speaking at Atlantic High School not too long ago to a group of young ladies, and I was just astonished by how many of them were not interested in even having a mentor. They didn't see the value. And I had to spend some time just breaking that down to them, talking about college application, someone to be able to read over your college application, someone to help you with your essay, someone to give you a letter of recommendation. You need all of these things. And just knowing that college was attainable. Some of them thought college was so expensive and that they couldn't get scholarships. And I told them that my nonprofit and others give a scholarship as a GPA as low as 2.5. If you don't have a 2.5, you're not getting into college anyway. So there is money out there. So, that I'm just encouraging everyone to just get involved. It doesn't have to be Rhonda's promise, but get involved in a program such as you name. There are tons of us out here. We know the stats are very high. There's tons of nonprofits in Palm Beach County. And I just encourage you to participate with one.
And, for those young ladies, but it could also be true for the men, if you are coming from a one-parent household, or if you have two parents and they didn't go to college, or if they're struggling, why not be around some people who are, in the higher tiers? Now, the one thing I'll say to you, Ms. Rhonda,
Yes.
is you say, if you don't have a 2.5, I graduated with a 1.9 in high school, but I had a fast 40. Cat Williams wasn't the only one who could do 40 flat, right?
Okay.
But it was because of my mother. It was God, all them prayers, her and my grandmother and my father, they put, but I would not recommend that to anybody. If somebody does have below a 2.5, because sometimes people get scared and they say, well, if I don't have a 2.5, I can't even talk to Miss Rhonda. Can you get them right? And how long does it usually take to turn around somebody's GPA? And do they have to be a junior? Can you do it in senior year? Give us the game, please.
You can do it in your senior year. I have seen it done in the senior year, but that means you're going to have to buckle down. That just really means you have to buckle down. And if you don't graduate and you're not accepted into a top tier or the university you want, I would highly encourage folks to go to Palm Beach State College. That is a great path that we have a great local Palm Beach State College, and people can even get their bachelor's degree at Palm Beach State College and go there for a semester or for a year until you get your GPA where you want it to be. And if you get your AA, you'll be accepted into any Florida university. Once you have that AA, you can go to any university here in Florida. So you can correct it in high school. It's a little harder when you're in senior year because that means you have to buckle down and get straight A's to weight it. It's a weighted GPA. So it can be done. But if it doesn't happen and you're not accepted into your dream school, I would highly encourage folks to start with Palm Beach State College and work their way up and get that GPA where they want, or even get an AA, and then they can go anywhere in the state of Florida.
And I did not pay her. My audience knows I'm a board member on Palm Beach State College. They know my dear friend, Dr. Neal. I'll say go all the way to Belglade if you can. It'll be a different experience, but while you can catch her before she runs for office, I'm just throwing that in the air. But with going to the Palm Beach State College, people say, well, I don't have the money, or maybe I don't have the money to go to your events. Do you guys help with that? Do you have payment plans? How does it work for your events? And then also helping people get into college to find the money.
Yeah, so we have a couple of programs. I know a lot of organizations that do like the Gold Sunday, which is where you help with FAFSA, which help you get that free money out there, as well as, like I said, tons of scholarships. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. All the D9 organizations offer scholarships, and we take time to meet with students and help them get the money they need. You can find money. I'm not for that. I mean, you can find money to go to college if that is what you want to do, especially if you look in your major. And sometimes there's specific scholarships related to what you want to do. If you want to be a nurse, there's money out there for nursing. So that's just an example. But I would encourage you to start with the FAFSA, seeing what you qualify for, and then from there, look into your individual majors and going to the schools financial aid support office. They are there to help you find that money and get you enrolled in schools, even if you have to do a grant or a Pell Grant or a loan for now, but at least try to step yourself into that arena by at least looking into it.
Well, you guys are in good hands, because she said she's a Delta. And if you know anything about Deltas, go to a step show and you will see them knock down doors.
Yes.
It could be a light knock, and I've seen them take it off the hinge at certain shows. We talk about money and nonprofits, people who, again, I always say should be funded by the government and the community. A lot of times people say, well, I'm already going, let's say, to the Boys and Girls Club, or there's a program at the United Way or wherever it is. Can I also go to your program? Because the money sometimes is the kids.
Yeah.
And, when the government does fund, it's the kids. So people are consistently fighting over the kids. But, is that sometimes it becomes Bloods versus Crips. And I know that you have mentioned a slew of nonprofits already. I met you at the Talented Teen Club events, which means there's not a whole bunch of infighting with that. But how do the kids navigate that, where they feel like, oh, I can go to Miss Rhonda for this, and I can go to Miss Sean for this, and I can go to over here, you just name a place, but how does that work with you? Because sometimes I've seen folks like literally ready to fight and say, this is my child.
No, you're right, 100% right. I've been in nonprofit for 33 years. I started my career with Children's Service Council. So I've been on the funding side where I gave the money, and now I'm on the side as well. I'm seeking the money. And I try not to be that person. That's why I wanted to show up for Sean. I'm very impressed with what she's doing. I'm only a 3-year nonprofit. I have 30 plus years of nonprofit experience, but myself, Rhonda's Promise, has only been around for 3 years. And I found a niche and for what I want to do. I'm focused specifically on South Palm Beach County, and I'm focused specifically on Black girls and brown girls and mentoring mental health and aging gracefully. Those are the things that I do. And I think that that kind of helps because children walk with their feet. And if they're not getting what they need from your program, they will hop over to another program. And so as individual leaders, we have to make sure that when the kids come to us, we're pouring into them and we are there to support them. And not all kids are matched good with the nonprofit. And so sometimes we as nonprofit leaders have to say, hey, I think you'll get more value out of a Boys and Girls Club. You're athletic. These are some things you want to do. These are some things that I can key you in. And so we have to also know how to match our kids with what their needs are. So that kind of helps with some of that infighting. But I do know it happens all the time. Like when I do my girls chat, this conference is for all girls. And I had a person say, well, what are you trying to get? Are you trying to steal my girls? Absolutely not. I'm not trying to steal your girls. I want you to bring your girls to this half-day experience and then take them back with you and talk about what they learned there. This is a conference, just like we go to women's conferences to professional development ourselves. This is the same thing I want to do to pour into other girls. And so I know what you're saying. It does happen all the time, but I want people to know that the children walk with their feet. And so you have to be pouring into them and nurturing them so that they want to stay with you.
Hello, everyone. Come along with London and Sydney as they show you around the vibrant country of Cameroon. Explore the heart of Africa through the eyes of London and Sydney. Two explorers who journey across the great city of Yaoundé, exploring its rich culture, vibrant market squares, cultural heritage, and wildlife. With giggles and excitement, London and Sydney Explore Cameroon takes you on a fun-filled adventure, providing insight into the country's culture and traditions through the pages of this book. It's packed with exciting stories and super cool facts about Cameroon that will make you go, wow. Get your copy now, available on Amazon and in libraries near you. There's only one easy way to experience the exploration of Cameroon, and it's through London and Sydney. Don't wait, get yours.
And talking about your conference, I know, middle school and high school, this is for people like myself who homeschool and have, a 14-year-old and have an 11-year-old, but the 11-year-old is already in middle school and doing middle school work. But there's certain things that, aren't for an 11-year-old, right? So is it based on, the grade level that they're doing, or is it based on maturity? Because I guess you could have some 17-year-olds who shouldn't be there either.
It is definitely based on maturity because I have a 5th grader that signed up this year because I spoke to mom and she shared that with me. She said, my girl can handle the subject matter things you're talking about. And it is stuff like AI. These kids are into these type of things right now. We're talking about bullying. Everybody's being bullied at different levels. We're talking about careers in STEAM. We're talking about using your talents to advocate in your community. So all of these skills can be brought down to the upper elementary age of 4th and 5th grade. If you think your student is capable of transitioning classrooms, understanding what a conference setting is, and kind of being mature in that aspect of it, because it is very much like you go to a conference. They're having a lunch with the keynote speaker, and then they get to pick the workshops they want to go into, and they change rooms in that type of setting. And if they're already doing that at school, like I know that a lot of the middle and high school change their grade when the bell rings, they go to the different classes. It's the exact same experience they have at this half-day conference. So I really encourage everyone to register. It is funded by the Children's Service Council. Great initiatives, idea. I thank them for that. And I just would love to see girls take advantage of this free half-day conference. It's sponsored.
Wow, you just said a word my ears had to make sure. Did you say free? Free 99?
It is free thanks to the Children's Service Council, and it's at the beautiful Aloft in Delray Beach. And like I said, there's going to be a keynote, a breakfast, sit-down breakfast, and they're going to get some goodies because, like I mentioned to you today is Giving Tuesday, and a part of our initiative is to ensure that each one of our girls leave with a $25 or more gift card, along with some other things in their swag bag, because I like swag, so they're going to have a nice swag bag.
No, that is beautiful. And how can somebody say no? This should be a fully packed, people lining up at the door, no matter what your situation is. 'Cause I think sometimes, especially here in South Florida, it reminds me about being in California, where the shallowness is real. Like you have people, I've had people come do work on the house, do different things with the ladies as far as like their nails, and they got $80,000 cars, and I've never spent more than 34,000 on a car, and I'm like, what's going on? When that come out? Like, what is that? Sometimes, especially in our community, people think, oh, because I have the car, the nails, whether they have a house or if they're renting or staying with somebody, I don't necessarily need help. As a man who spends a lot of time with his daughters, I always tell people I need help. That's why I always have them trying to do something. And that's why when you had also mentioned bullying, I said every woman should know jujitsu, because it's the only martial art that someone can be in between your legs and you can violently get them off. You got any jiu-jitsu classes coming for next year?
But let's talk about it, because you just piqued my interest, because I'm always looking, and that's another good thing. Because this is my nonprofit, I can add and delete anything I want. And when we find something that's good and our girls need that, defensive classes, let's talk about it. But this is not based on your income. This is just pouring into your children. And I have folks from all levels. I do not say low income. You never heard me mention anything about low income students or anything. These are for girls, middle and high school girls who want to be poured into and who want to leave with new tips and new mentors and new people that they can reach out to. Because after the session, as a part of the funding, I'm going to continue on with quarterly sessions. So if they come in and they like what they heard about AI and it's only a 45-minute to an hour session, we're going to continue that session on at another date. And so that is a part of it. Each one of my each one of my 6 presenters will have an opportunity to present again a fuller workshop for the girls. And so everybody that registers and signs up will get invited back to those individual sessions so that they can get more in detail for each one of those subject matters that they learned at the conference.
You mentioned, doing this work for Rhonda's Promise for 3 years, but you have been doing it for decades. For the person who says, I want to be you, I might not have all the experience you've had, but I know I've been here 5 minutes or 5 years too long, maybe 5 months. What took you so long? And was there something that someone could have said to you, gave to you, done for you to make you do this, faster?
I was on the path of really wanting to run others' nonprofits, and that is what I did. And so I started out as a director. I moved up and became a CEO of 2 nonprofits. And in the midst of all of that, I was learning that board development needs to happen a lot. And I was running into some difficulties. People know my story. I had been on this working with this nonprofit for 4+ years, had raised a couple more $1 million that I had. And then all of a sudden the board started what I would say poking and picking on things. You didn't get approved for this, you didn't get approval for that. And so I just took it upon myself and I said, you know what, do Rhonda's promise. Do your own thing where you have the control of what you need to do. And so that is really, I always say it's a testament of God. He made me uncomfortable. I left a six-figure position to step out and do this work. And if you know anything about nonprofit, you're not making any money from this. You have to do this for your passion. And so that is kind of what took me so long, is because I was on a trajectory to be a CEO of someone else's dreams. And it just didn't work. And I believe that that was a testament to God saying, no, you need to step out and do your own dream. And my name actually came from one of the staff members at this particular position because I wanted to give out a scholarship. And I asked her, I said, what are we going to name the scholarship for seniors who are graduating from our program? And she said, what do you think about Rhonda's promise? She said, because since you've been here, Miss Rhonda, in your 4.5 years, you've kept every one of your promises. So when I first started this position, I inherited it from someone who had been there for many years. And I sat down with each one of the staff and asked them what was going on well, and what was going bad, and what they needed improvement in. And so that's what she was making a reference to when I said I would make these improvements, and I kept my promises. So when I was looking for a name to call my nonprofit 3 years ago, that is what resonated with me, what she said to me. And so that's where my name comes from.
And that was in Kitty London's interview, you guys, but she said it. I don't want Kitty is like stealing Joe Rogan's questions, but it's always part of the story. Also, part of the story is your whole purpose is to give back. But my signature question is the give back. So I'm going to ask you, what is your community give back that you're doing? Maybe you haven't mentioned something, or that you would like to do in the future, and you let us peek into what's to come.
Oh, yes, I do a lot of community give back. All of my events, pretty much 80% of my events are free. So I have the girls chat coming up in December. In the month of January, I do an amazing vision board, which is very free. I'll host the food, we host the drinks, we bring in a financial planner that really helps you. And then I keep in touch with you every month, or at least every quarter, about where you are with your vision. How are you doing with your board? So that'll be January. February for our ladies, Galentine. So I'm going to be doing an amazing event for the ladies in honor of Valentine's Day. We have our Galentine's event. And then March is Women's History Month, which I would need folks to support us in, because that is a ticketed event. Because as what I mentioned, I try to do at least 2 ticketed events where I raise money, and then others I do free programming. I do my Aging Gracefully with my senior citizens. Thanks to Quantum in the Community, I was able to get a small grant with them to do some education around hurricane and emergency preparedness. So that is my give back as well to the seniors. And I have to plug my women's conference. We are going on the Royal Caribbean next year in 2025 for a women's conference. I have 8 dynamic speakers who are presenting. And so far, I've already secured 27 cabins. So there's still time to get on that cruise. It's called Women's Conference at Sea, and it's on the Royal Caribbean Freedom of the Seas, May 2nd through May 5th. And we're doing it in the month of May because that's Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's one of my programs is mental health. I suffer personally with anxiety. It's not a secret to some folks, and so it's very important for me to pour back into that and to pour in myself as well as other ladies who have the same similar disorders.
And again, I know on Kitty's interview you had talked about that, and she said the same thing. And I tell people, you might hear people talking and just making jokes, but everybody can have something where they might not want to talk. They might not even want to be seen. It might be hard to get out of bed, and whatever pushes you to get out of bed, let that push. Because I know I got to push myself sometimes. But can you tell anybody what helps you get out and do these things and push and let people know? Is it therapy? Is it just that, man, I might not make it today, so I might as well go out with a bang? What is it? Because so many people deal with that and they think they're dealing with it alone.
Mm-hmm. It's just like you said, it's the push, it's the friends. If I go quiet for a certain amount of time, I can count on my best friend who just knows and feels like, hey, something's just not right, or some of my dearest friends, because some days it is hard to just get out of the bed, and some days I just don't. Because if it's not that day, it'll be the next day. That's what you have to hope and pray for, the next day. And so you just have to take it in stride. I do therapy. You also do have your friends and your support group, your network group, which is why I put Hey Sisters. That's the name of my program. Hey Sisters. And that's why I put us together so that we have that pillar. We have a support group on Facebook as well as in the community. And so those are some of the things that I'm going to continue to build upon in the new year. I just recently resigned from my position. I had another full-time job in October. And I was weighing both nonprofits. I was weighing this other nonprofit that was paying me plus Rhonda's Promise. And some of that was the reason of the anxiety. Fundraising is tough, and you have to fundraise for your position. You have to fundraise for programming. And I just said, I can't do it anymore. I need to just focus on Rhonda's Promise. I'm at an age now that if I don't try, I'll never do it. And so that's really kind of what I did. I walked away November 1st. I started doing this full time. And I'm just excited about the doors that God's already opening, such as seeing you. We talked some time ago about doing this interview, and we didn't get a chance to do it. And so I'm so glad that God had our paths cross again on Sunday, and that we're interviewing here today.
Amen, amen. I was gonna keep bothering you on LinkedIn. I always tell people it's an open invite. God's timing is better than mine. So whenever it is supposed to happen, let it happen. My job is to make the invite, and then we can make it happen. And I know all that good information is on your website, but I can already hear some of the audience say, "Well, you have a women's conference on a boat. Can I bring my husband? Can I bring can he just hang out in the room? Is that allowed?"
That is most definitely allowed. And we have children. Some of our speakers are bringing kids, and some of our speakers and our attendees are bringing their husbands. During the conference setting, that is just going to be the women. So because it's a cruise, so we have a designated time that we're going to be gathering as women to do our workshops and to do our part, but there's plenty of fun as well. So every dinner, the husbands are definitely going to be invited, and we have theme nights. We're having a white party, we're having a great Gatsby party, and we're having an 80s party, and we want everyone to be involved in that. And then when we get to the beautiful island of Nassau, Bahamas, we're going to do a community service project, and everyone can participate in that one. So it is a family affair. The conference specifically, the pieces of the conference specifically are for women. But the cruise is a family cruise, and it's a weekend. It's a Friday. We'll be back on a Monday, and it's just going to be a good time.
For someone like myself who's never been on a cruise, is when you're on the cruise, is this fully booked out just for the conference? Will there be other people, or is it just your people?
No. It's a full cruise. We just have a portion of it. So working with Royal Caribbean, they have given me workshop rooms so that when we have our gatherings Friday night, it's going to be a meet and greet where they get their badges and their swag bag, and be introduced to the speakers and introduced to the sponsors, because they were plugged there. We are still looking for folks to help sponsor this conference. So that'll be Friday night, and then Saturday morning from 8 to 10, there'll be workshops in a designated area on the cruise just for our folks. And then they'll get off the island at Coco Cay and spend time with their family, come back and do one more session at 6 o'clock, and then dinner at 7:45. And we'll repeat that agenda again on Sunday, and then we're off Monday morning about 10 o'clock. Everyone's pretty much off the ship by then. So it's quick. It's thought out, but it is a typical cruise where you'll be other people on the cruise ship. But we have a designated time and space for Rhonda's Promise, a women's conference at sea, and some dynamic speakers who are speaking about their mental health awareness, self-esteem, beauty. I have someone coming on teaching us how to do makeup. It's just going to be the full gamut.
Well, you guys have got the game. There's going to be so much in the description box that you're going to be able to click and see. She has a beautiful website, well organized. Kudos to the web designer. Is that you too, Miss Rhonda?
That is not me. That is Rhonda Harvey, and you make my smile. She knows how much I love my site. I always send people to my website, and so no, she does that, and she does a great job with that.
Well, it's a beautiful thing. If you have any last words, anything I did not pick up that you need to put down, please let the people know and where to find you.
No, I thank you for having me. Rhonda's Promise is here to assist women or girls. If you have any program ideas or thoughts that you would like to share with me, you can find me at Rhonda's Promise or at info@rhondaspromise.org, or you can give me a phone call. I love to share my phone number with others. My phone number is 561-312-0539. Please reach out to me. And not only do I have Rhonda's Promise, but I also have a consulting business called Rhonda Consults, where I do help other nonprofits start up. I know you did have a question about helping other nonprofits start up. I do that. I use my 30 years of experience to give back in that way. So if you're looking for a coach or a mentor through this nonprofit space, please reach out. And thank you for having me.
Well, I thank you for saying that last piece. But before people start bugging you, and I mean do bugging you and saying, well, how much? Can you let them know on the consulting? Because you said a lot of free stuff. So on the consulting, where do they need to start? Because, we live in a time where somebody will give you $500 and want $5,000 worth of services and a guarantee. So
No.
where do they need to start?
We're gonna need to talk about starting with at least $100 for a consulting fee, $100 an hour. So that's what we're gonna need to at least start with. But I do the discovery call. You see the links. When you ever email me, you'll see my discovery call link. I do give 30-minute consultation for free. But then after that, it's $100 an hour. And then we can talk about customized workshops or strategic plans or whatever specifically you may need. The one great thing about it is I am a consultant in the Grow marketplace, which is by nonprofits first. And if you know anything about that and you have those Grow dollars, you can connect with me through that, and they pay the cost of it through Grow. So there's like I said, CSC is out here killing it. They're providing funding for other nonprofits, to get folks like me to help them and be successful. So I thank them for all that they have done over the years.
Well, you guys, that consulting price is a beautiful price. When you think about the 10 years it would take you to learn what you could learn in 10 minutes, it definitely sounds like something you want to jump on quickly before the price goes up. Remember, today's price won't be tomorrow, or however they say that.
Right,
but you guys gotta jump on it, because this is somebody with so much experience. She's already shown you how she's funded her events. Now your dream is just starting, or you're struggling. So when it makes sense, I thank you, Miss Rhonda. A good storyteller always has them wanting more. So hopefully they call. Make sure you guys make sure you comment, but most importantly, make sure you share this game with somebody. It will change their life. Y'all be blessed.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed biased socioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start? Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. The opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent, and prepare for a journey of restoration and joy by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.